Here's what I want. Here's what I have. We're not actually too far off here. This is my 1960 house, and over this last summer I've been trying to tackle a whole bunch of landscaping projects in the backyard. But now, it's time to tackle the shed. The biggest project is going to be redoing the roof, which I don't quite know how to do yet, but I'm going to figure it out. There's also rot in the siding, a broken window, trash from the prior resident of our house, a serious lack of storage inside so that things just pile up, and the door doesn't really close. So I guess there's nothing else to do except dive in. Let's get to work. I've been eyeing this trash pile for 2 years now, and it's time to take care of it. There's an old rusty bed frame, a bunch of rotting wood, and old dried up paint. But really the problem is that everywhere where there's dirt touching wood of the siding, it's leading to rot. So it's definitely time to clear this all out. After one day, I filled up the trailer and mostly cleared out the garbage, so we celebrated with our newest favorite pastime this summer, which is taking Taco Bell to the beach. It's beautiful, Celie loves throwing rocks in the water, and we love lounging and watching her.
Good job.
It's now the next day, and I'm feeling a little daunted by this project. I have this problem where I can't really bring myself to hire anybody to help me with house projects, but I also don't have the time to tackle them. But I really want to tackle them. Maybe it's a pride thing or a cheap thing, but I can't get enough of this DIY stuff. I had grand plans for this video to encompass installing the new roof and getting everything watertight, but I think I'm gonna be lucky if I can just take all the garbage to the trash. I did end up changing out of my Crocs because, I found 3 dead rats, a bunch of spiders, and a handful of rusty nails. But it's mostly cleaned out behind the shed here, and it's looking really good. You can see, there's a bunch of dirt piled up here, and all of this siding is rotten. So I'm gonna have to go around and replace a lot of it around the base. You can see this here. But I think that's a project for another day, and I'm just gonna tackle getting the roof off for now. Okay, so this is my first time on the shed roof. I've been on the house a couple times, but here we are. You can see there's a whole lot of debris built up here because there was a grapevine growing over this that I cleared out last year, but it's not actually as soft as I was thinking, so hopefully some of the plywood underneath here is salvageable, but I think we're just gonna have to pull it off in order to find out. It's pretty hot up here too. I might need a hat. Ants pouring out of the roof as I'm pulling off shingles. It's definitely a bad sign. rot wasn't quite as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it's definitely a problem in a number of places. And you can see how this is just like pulling apart. And this is probably just going to fall off. So I think I'm going to take off most of the plywood, see some of the structural members underneath. I'm actually rethinking the roof line a little bit. I think it'd be really cool too. Things. I have a couple ideas. Maybe I'll show you them in a minute. Okay, I made a quick model here because it's very difficult to film anything on the top of a roof. Come in close. These are the actual pieces that I've pulled off the roof and reconstructed. And you have a couple 2x4 pieces, you got a piece of OSB, and then there's a like a tar paper roof protectant and the shingles themselves. Now, I don't know a ton about roofing, but I mean, this doesn't look very good to me. We've got the OSB expanding here. We've got a lot of warped shingles, and then this piece right here was all right when I took it off. It didn't look too bad, but really it's the 2x4s underneath that are a problem. There's a ton of rot and carpenter ants too. Obviously, I've taken it all off and we're starting from scratch. Let's see what we're doing. I know there's plenty of controversy over all of this AI image generation lately, but I've been loving it as a brainstorming tool. I'm experimenting a lot with Midjourney lately, which did have a decent amount of learning curve, but it's now super fun. I started with a photo of my shed and then started slowly adding things to it. First I made it pink, then I was like, what if there's a slide? Then a climbing structure, and eventually it turned into this tall structure that I fell in love with. I think part of this is a product of asking it to generate in a vertical aspect ratio. That's what I'm loving though. It's this randomness that sparks little side thoughts and diversions and new ideas. But anyways, I now can't not build a second story A-frame playhouse on top of my shed, right? So here's my ant hunting setup now that the roof is off and it's time to hunt them. I have a home inspector friend who told me that the best time to hunt the ants is in the evening. They're nocturnal, so I'm coming out right after the sun has set. And I got some poison, and I think I'm just gonna spray this all the way around the foundation here. So you can see where they've been hanging out. This is where they've eaten a lot of wood off of this top sill plate, and it's a fair amount of damage, but it's fairly localized right on this corner here. And I think if I just spray all the way around the shed, that we should be in an okay spot. This is all of the fluff. I don't know, there is a technical name. Maybe I'll look that up. But this is, you know, all of the wood that they've eaten, like the sawdust that they produce. There's one right there. Of course, it's been perfectly sunny and in the 80s all summer long, but as soon as I take the roof off of my shed, it starts raining off and on for a week. A friend gave me a tarp to borrow, but it was too small, so I ran to the store and picked this one up. I think that I have maybe just one more run to the dump to make, and then I have to figure out how to put 12-foot long joists in my 8-foot trailer. I don't know how that's going to work out yet. So far, this has been relatively easy. I've just been taking stuff off. But stay tuned for next episode where I build an A-frame on top of my 63-year-old garden shed. I'm very intimidated by the math. Bye.